Welcome to PAREV-TV. We are joined by a good friend, a pianist, a composer, Dr. Hayk Arsenyan. Hayk, let me first say this pandemic has changed our lives, but did not stop us. Nobody can stop you, Hayk. You continue producing, you continue organizing, and I know very recently you had a very successful concert in Watertown, Massachusetts, which we'll be talking about. But also, I know you'll be talking about the very recently discovered work of Gomidas, which you performed. I think it was a world premiere at Watertown. Tell us about the concert. We'd like to hear all the details because I watched the clip, the video clip. Very, very interesting. Very, very uplifting program.
Such a beautiful piece, right? Thank you so much for inviting. I really appreciate it. I think taking into consideration how important for all of us Komitas is, having something to world premiere pretty much 100 years later, right? Having something that is discovered and published just recently, and especially a work that is not an arrangement of a folk song or folk dance, or is not even based on any folk tunes. And this just projects, this beautiful piece shows Komitas's creativity, his own language, his own thought as a composer, his own, I want to say, tries into the world of Western classical, post-romantic, music, and it's so interesting how comfortable he does feel in this beautiful piece. Um, I was playing. I did, give. I'm so happy I gave that world premiere to this beautiful piece, and then the other solo that I performed at the concert was also quite rarely played, but it is played, just rarely played. Piano Suite Moshe Shorosh, that is an original of Komitas. And interestingly, it is performed more as an arrangement done for other instruments rather than the piano, that he wrote it for. But so those two beautiful, yes.
Did you arrange the whole program? And tell us more about the program because you had some very, very well known, very, very bright musicians with you. Uh, Alvart and Hasmig and
And
Anna.
I,
He
yes.
felt like I worship these kids. They are really, really beautiful.
Beautiful artist, you're absolutely right. No, for once I was not the producer, I was not the programmer at all. This was presented by the Armenian Museum of America in Boston, in Watertown, and I was invited as an
Who
artist.
put the program together? That's my question. Who put the program together?
Mostly, the sopranos. I mean, they decided what they need to sing, and we have collaborated at this point so many times,
Yes.
that it was a very easy task. But yes, it is them who decided what they want to sing, and I collaborated with them on that. And then obviously for my solos, I decided what I will be playing, and that was a good chance for me, to present those two pieces by Komitas. I will tell you this about the Nocturne, that it was a very happy coincidence that Komitas, that I found, this piece that is called Nocturne. Because what happened was that I was preparing a program that was supposed to be on tour last November 2020, but because of pandemic got postponed till May 2022. This program is called Nocturnal France. So in this program, I'm playing only nocturnes and complete sets of nocturnes. So including Chopin's Opus 15 Nocturne, and number 3 of Opus 15 is also hardly ever performed. And I was going to play, I have that Schumann wrote variations on that rarely played Chopin's Nocturne. that was also discovered quite lately. It was discovered in the late 80s and published in the 90s. So it's a very rarely performed piece. So I was playing this nocturnes by Chopin, the Schumann variations on Chopin Nocturne, um, full-length complete set of nocturnes, Flores Opus 33 nocturnes. So those beautiful, pieces, my own nocturne, because I also grew up in France. So for me, France is very important as a country as well. And and obviously for Komitas, it was so important, the country, I mean, he lived there for his last 20 years. And I didn't know how to include him. I really wanted to include him. And I included his Moshoshoro as I had it in the program. But I was like, I'm just going to call this, although it's not a nocturne, but Komitas's life was nocturnal in France because it was, he died in France and he lived the last 20 years in France. But I was trying to kind of connect Komitas more rather than artificially. And then suddenly, this friend of mine wrote this very precious, book that's Komitas's German works. So this compilation of works that just got published just literally 2-3 years ago includes his works of some sketches, for the piano, some unfinished works. Some of them are not even titled. Some works written for strings and chamber music. Again, those are small works. Some for woodwinds, also very interesting. Some choral little works, and his songs on German poetry. So on the poetry of Goethe, Umlaut, so very interesting, things. And I was going through the book again, and what? I found this Nocturne. It says Nocturne. I was like, oh my God, this is just such a beautiful sign. I really wanted to include, Komitas into the program, and I was kind of trying to connect him through Mishra. There you go. So now Komitas's Nocturne is also included in that program.
You mentioned the Nocturnal France program. What areas will you be touring? Is it only France or other parts of Europe?
No, it is called Nocturnal France. It will be touring in France as well, but it was scheduled to tour in the US in November 2020. And then April 2021, this year's April, it was supposed to be in France. But obviously, the 2020 didn't happen. The April 2021 is not going to happen either. So everything is rolling into 2022 and after.
You were born in Armenia at a very young age. I think it was 11 years old. You were on stage. You traveled all over the world. You have organized so many concerts, and we thank you for all the many things you've done.
Thank you.
The pandemic stopped us, kind of. It did not stop us, really. It changed the way we do things. My question to you is, what are you looking forward to once we get out of the pandemic?
You know what I'm looking forward to? I'm really, really looking forward to that incessant collaboration with artists. I don't mind the mask. I just know that, well, for me as a pianist, mask is not a problem, but mask is a problem for many other, musicians, right? I mean, the woodband, like, or singers, like it is a restriction. So I'm really looking forward to collaborating with artists without restrictions, with that open heart and possibilities,
Sure.
and without fear. And I am really looking forward to communicating and exchanging that beautiful energy with the audience. I really miss the audience.
That's the beautiful thing.
I really miss feeling loved. I really miss that giving love to the people. I miss that circle, that breath between audience and
You know, you're one of a kind. Honestly, you're very, very talented, very giving, very
Thank you.
able to put things together. And when you're on stage, you will just deliver. There's no question. You deliver.
Thank
A little bit more about the program in Watertown, Massachusetts. It was entitled Kez Hamar Hayastan or Kez Hed Hayastan with you, Armenia.
I think it was with you, Armenia. Yeah, Keset Hayastan.
Armenia. Give me an idea what it takes and how can we maybe duplicate similar things. What does it take
To do what?
to present these programs? Is it the idea? Is it the money? Is it the artist? Is it the timing? What does it take to put similar programs? I guess virtually.
Virtually, imagine. I mean, this concert was scheduled way ahead of time, and we were going to go to Boston, to Watertown, and play a live concert. But because of pandemic, it got postponed, and then they had invited us to drive to Boston and record it there. Then they were like, "But what's the point of driving, to Boston if this is going to be a recording?"
There were no people in the audience. There was no.
There were no people in the audience, so it was a smarter decision to have us just recorded in New York, and that was pretty much it. So now what is really interesting, and this is probably a very New York thing, and this is why I am constantly every day in love with this city, is that it just any just the arts in general, it keeps recreating itself. So it is so supportive of artists and the audience of the artists, that it keeps finding ways to present the arts, to to support the arts, to feed the souls of the New Yorkers. So they have just started this new concert series called Storefront Concert Series. It's on the Upper West Side, right in front of the Lincoln Center. And basically what they do is the musicians are playing inside the store, right behind the storefronts, and with the help of the speakers, audience listen to it. Yesterday with my daughters, we saw this pop-up theater in the East Village. I mean, outside. So basically, it's the musicians and the actors, the dancers, they were all in the garage, and the audience were very much socially distant, on the street watching. So what it takes, I feel like it takes just the creativity. It does, of course, take the finances as well, because we are artists. This is our job, right? As much as we feed everyone's soul and ourselves as well, but we also need to feed ourselves with the food too. So the presenters do need to have the funds, but mostly it creates it needs the creativity to think of ways how we can present, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there are some venues who have started doing concerts without audiences, so the artists are on the stage in the venue, but there are no audiences, so those are just live streams.
Over the past 4 or 5 months, not 44-day war, only 4 or 5 months, we were busy with Armenia, with Artsakh, with the war. Every interview we had was with some political scientist or some professor, and our attention was focused on what is developing and happening in Armenia. How has the war affected musicians? There must be a way the war has affected you and other musicians in Armenia. What is your take of the situation?
Yes, I cannot talk about everyone, but I can tell you this, that first of all, it has exhausted. At this point, it has exhausted. I know that it has exhausted my soul. Absolutely brokenhearted. I've never felt so brokenhearted in my life, where it really kills the creativity. But while the war was going on, I think I never felt so patriotically proud and proud to be an artist and proud to be an Armenian because if you think, I don't know, another instance where um,
Yes.
fundraising, so many fundraisings and so many cries of help were done with the voices of artists, with the talents of artists, with this activism of artists. I mean,
Yes.
during those 45 days, Armenia was blooming worldwide with mostly the artists,
Yes.
screaming, showing, creating, doing so much, to call help. But unfortunately, this deaf world and the whole consequences of the war, how it ended. I know one thing, that it has kind of, killed a huge chunk of my soul for sure. So it's going to take me a while to
Sure.
recover.
Hayk, I want you to close this with a positive note. Give us something positive, whether it's a project you're working for, or whether there is a vision of Armenia you have for, or whatever. Give me a positive note and we'll wrap it up.
Absolutely. Definitely as, as soul is killed, I will tell you this, that also, discoveries like this Nocturne are that, big positive side of art. That,
Yeah.
there our composers, as we saw even Komitas, right, have written so much that we don't know. So we, as Armenians, I know it takes us some time now to recover from that broken heart, but we need to, if we think how much we Armenians and we Armenian artists have to discover about ourselves, about Armenia, about Armenian art, about our composers, about all those archives that we have, we can think and we can feel powerful again. And if we all, as Armenian also audiences, also journalism like you, who so positively and instantly, came up with the interview, and the promotion of this new discovery, as that's what it is for me, is that understanding of the deep values of our nation, of our art, of what we have. So if we have that, if we keep digging in and discovering and creating more, we can stay on this land, we can stay on this planet, and we can thrive. We can thrive only if, when we understand what we are, realistically doing the job what we need to really, really do. At least artists.
Dr. Hayk Arsenyan, thank you for the creativity you provide us. Thank you for your inspiring music. Thank you for the piano. Thank you for the composition, original compositions. Thank you for everything you do, and keep on doing it, because the only way we know is to move forward. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. It's always such a pleasure.
In